Zdaj se pa ne vidim, a se vidim tam?
Seveda se
Aha, tamle gor
vidiš.
moram igrati.
Ja, tamle se
Malo
vidiš.
bolj desno.
Ja. No, malo sva se nastavila zdajle pred kamero, sva že v živo, lepo pozdravi vse te
Že
naše.
imam tremo po dolgem času.
A ne? Nič nimaš treme, kaj boš imel treme?
A
Glej,
toliko jih
kako-
je?
Ja, veliko pa bolj še tudi imamo na Ramblu, jih je tudi ogromno, še spremlja nas, tako da nas je, ja, veliko.
Rozalija,
Ja, najlepša.
Rozalija je pa, ona si pa sliko
Ona,
dala.
ja, slikco, ja, ja. Vsem lep pozdrav.
Rozalija
Ja.
živijo.
Evo, še Nataša je nocoj z nami.
Če si
Pa veliko
Blanka,
vidim, ja,
Robin Fulk,
fajn.
Nataša.
Ja. Dobro. Zdaj bomo takole, jaz bom v Egidijevem programu, tako kot me je, poglejo, Viktorija. Halo.
Živijo, a kar 200, vidi ga pa
Javka je
hengata.
dober, ja.
Žurata,
Fajn,
žurata.
fajn.
Kateri sobe? Vidite,
Kaj?
smo kateri sobe.
Kaj je rekla?
Ne vem, nisem slišal.
Gidi, sem rekla, da smo tokrat kar iz sobe doma.
Ja.
Ja,
Sej,
ok, cool,
se vidimo, ja.
fantastično. Ja, Viktorija, iz sobe v sobo.
A veš, moram povedati, Mihael, kako je navdušena moja teta, ki te posluša. To, kar je zdaj slišala, ja, neverjetno.
Teta, boste odnesli kakšno besedo našim Slovencem v domov, ne?
Bomo jo že poučili, da bo vse povedala, tako kot je treba.
Ok,
Ja, drži.
super.
Ja.
Dobro, Egidi, tvoj program danes je specifičen.
Ja.
In Egidi je pripravil najprej en kratek film, mislim, da je 8 minut, nekaj takšnega.
9 skoraj.
No, skoraj 9
A že
minut.
celih 9.
Ja. In bomo najprej si to pogledali, potem pa bo Egidi na podlagi tega filma, tega sporočila, vsem nam položil na srce še nekaj nasvetov, nekaj svojih izkušenj in nas opozoril, kako in kaj naprej. Zdaj ti enkrat uvod naredi, jaz bom video pripravil in ga bomo zašerali, ti pa 2-3 stavke za uvod, prosim.
Ja, lepo pozdravljeni, blagoslov, božji blagoslov vsem. Zdaj dolgo časa me niste videli, jaz sem se ukvarjal z svojo eksistenco in z svojim projektom in sem zdaj nekako te zadeve uredil in v nedeljo sem se spet dal na razpolago stvarniku, če je kaj za narediti v tej deželi. In sem dobil ta posnetek ob 01:30 zjutraj na telefon, sem si ga pogledal in takoj začutil urgentno ukrepanje in v ponedeljek sem že vedel, da moram pač to narediti za slovenski narod. Je pa precej občutljiva zadeva iz duhovnega področja in se dotika naših želja, čustev, duhovne zadeve. Pač tehnologija ni orodje, ampak je duhovno orožje in uničuje družinske odnose, medgeneracijsko predvsem. Ker je taka razlika v poznavanju tehnologij med mladimi in starejšimi, da je pa ta dokumentarni film, ki je pa osebno videnje v zamaknjenem stanju mladega dekleta z Jezusom osebno. In jaz sem to začutil, da dejansko je to dobila, ker je v tem času se to dogaja in je predpriprava na sprejem čipov prostovoljno, kar sem pa že 2 leta nazaj govoril, ker je agenda 2030 in je s tem tudi povezan digitalni denar. To je pač vse priprava na to, da se bo potem ljudi čipirali. Dajte si ta posnetek probati posnet, zelo hitro govori, jaz sem to besedilo podnapisal za popravki, Mihael je pripravil osnutek svojim programom, jaz sem šel popravljati, da je enostavno razumljivo, je pa zelo hitro besedilo teče, ker je deklica hitro govori. Jaz sem na koncu povedal mojo izkušnjo v zvezi z mojo prijateljico, kako je ona mene zaznala ob delovanju te tehnologije. Ko pa dajte res biti sfokusirani, je kar pestro, hitro dogajanje. Tako, lep ogled.
My name is Sophia, and on a cold night in December of 2022, I had a near-death experience where I firmly believe that Jesus himself showed me the dangers of technology in my generation. If you are a parent or have young people in your family, please listen to this warning. I didn't even believe in this stuff before that life-changing night, and now I found this channel so I can warn as many adults and young people as possible. And please comment below if you believe me, if you agree or disagree with this vision. So here we go. It was a normal Friday night. I was laying down on the couch in our living room, scrolling endlessly through my phone. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I was trapped in an endless cycle of content that didn't seem to mean much, but somehow I couldn't stop. Hours passed without me realizing it. My parents had gone to bed, my brothers and sisters were in their rooms, and I was alone with the glow of my screen. I felt a strange dizziness come over me, like the room was spinning. I thought maybe I had stared at the screen for too long, or maybe my blood sugar was too low. I told myself I'd just get up and get some water, but before I could move, everything went black. The next thing I knew, I wasn't in my living room anymore. I was floating above my body, staring down at myself. There I was, slumped over on the couch with my phone still glowing in my hand. I felt panic and confusion. Was I dead? What was happening? I tried to cry out, but no sound came. That's when a blinding light filled the room, cutting through the darkness like nothing I'd ever seen. I turned to look, and there he was, Jesus. He didn't look like the pictures in church or the paintings you see in Sunday school. He was more radiant, more powerful, and more real than anything I had ever known. His presence wasn't just light, it was love and authority all wrapped into one. I wanted to fall to my knees, but I couldn't move. "Come," he said, extending his hand toward me. His voice was calm, but it carried a weight that left no room for argument. Without hesitation, I reached out and took his hand. The moment I did, the room disappeared, and we were standing in what felt like a void. It wasn't empty, though. All around us were glowing screens hovering in midair. Phones, tablets, computers, TVs, even VR headsets. They weren't just devices. They were alive with something dark and sinister. Faces stared back at me from those screens, millions of them, but their eyes were blank. It was like they were hypnotized. Jesus gestured toward the screens. "This is the battlefield," he said, his voice filled with both sorrow and urgency. "The enemy has made this his primary weapon against your generation. Millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha. He knows your potential. He knows what you could accomplish for my kingdom, so he is working to destroy you." I didn't understand. But how? It's just technology. It's just entertainment. Jesus turned and looked at me, and I'll never forget the sadness in his eyes. "It started that way," he said. "But what you see as harmless is far from it. The enemy uses these screens to enslave hearts, minds, and souls. Technology was meant to be a tool, but it has become a trap." I looked closer at the screens and saw chains extending from them. The chains wrapped around people's wrists, necks, and even their hearts. Some people were shackled so tightly they could barely move. Each chain had a word written on it: comparison, anxiety, lust, distraction, pride, envy. The words burned into my mind. "They don't even know they're chained," I whispered. "That's the enemy's greatest trick," Jesus replied, "to enslave them without their knowledge." As I stared at the screens, they suddenly turned red. Flames flickered at the edges, and I saw a terrifying symbol glowing on every screen. It wasn't just on the devices, though. It started to appear on people's foreheads and hands, as if being burned into their skin. "What is that?" I asked, my voice shaking. Jesus looked at me with a seriousness that made my heart stop. "It is not yet the mark of the beast," he said, "but it is conditioning them to accept it. The enemy is preparing their hearts to worship him instead of me. They are being trained to value convenience, approval, and instant gratification above all else. When the time comes, they will accept the mark without question." I couldn't breathe. I thought about how many hours I had spent staring at my phone, how many times I had felt worthless because of what I saw online. I thought about the arguments I had with my parents when they told me to put my phone down. I had always thought they were overreacting. Now I wasn't so sure. The scene shifted, and I found myself standing in what looked like a massive war zone. It wasn't a physical battlefield with guns and soldiers, though. Instead, it was filled with families. Parents, grandparents, children, teens, all of them were standing on one side of the battlefield, but they weren't fighting together. The older generations were yelling at the younger ones, accusing them of being lazy, selfish, and addicted. The younger generations were yelling back, blaming their parents for not understanding or for creating the very problems they were dealing with. Meanwhile, the enemy stood in the shadows, laughing as he sowed division. "They are supposed to be united," Jesus said, his voice heavy with sadness. "But the enemy has turned them against each other. The older generations must wake up and see that their children and grandchildren are under attack. They must fight for them, not against them." "How?" I asked. "What can they do?" "They must pray," Jesus said. "They must teach my word. They must set an example by putting me above all else, even their own distractions. Many of them have been lulled to sleep by the same devices." I looked around and saw older people glued to their phones too, scrolling through news or playing games while their children wandered into the darkness. The next thing I saw broke my heart. It was a church service, but it wasn't like any church I had ever been to. The sanctuary was filled with people, but most of them weren't paying attention. Some were scrolling on their phones during worship. Others were taking selfies during the sermon. The pastor was preaching passionately, but his words seemed to fall on deaf ears. The glow of screens filled the room like an artificial light, drowning out the presence of God. "This is my house," Jesus said, his voice trembling with both anger and sorrow. "But it has become a marketplace for distractions. My people no longer seek me with their whole hearts. They seek entertainment, validation, and convenience." I wanted to scream, to cry, to shake everyone awake, but I couldn't. I turned to Jesus, desperate for answers. "What can I do?" I asked. "I'm just a kid." Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder, and his eyes met mine. "You are more than you think you are," he said. "You are my messenger. I have chosen you to warn them, not just your generation, but all generations." "But they won't listen," I said, tears streaming down my face. "They'll think I'm crazy." "They rejected me too," he said. "But some will hear, and their eyes will be opened. Speak boldly. Tell them what you have seen. Warn them that the time is short." In that moment, I felt the weight of his words settle on my heart. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I couldn't stay silent. In an instant, I was back in my living room. My heart was pounding, and I could feel the tears on my face. My phone was still in my hand, but it felt different now, cold, heavy, and sinister. I threw it across the room and fell to my knees, crying out to God. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I prayed like I had never prayed before. I prayed for my friends, my family, my generation, and even for the older generations. I prayed that God would help me find the courage to share what I had seen. If you're reading this, I believe it's because Jesus wants you to hear this warning. This isn't just about kids and their phones. It's about all of us. The enemy is using technology to distract, divide, and destroy. He is conditioning us to accept what's coming, and if we don't wake up, it will be too late. Parents, grandparents, older friends, you have a role to play. Pray for your children and grandchildren. Talk to them about these things. Set an example by putting down your own devices and seeking God first. And to my generation, don't let the enemy steal your soul through a screen. Seek Jesus. Read his word. Find your worth in him, not in likes, comments, or followers. The time is short. The choice is yours.
En stavek, ki se vam bo vtisnil v spominu, sem si ga na koncu mi je Duh povedal, s katerim naj začnem. Mladi generaciji, ne dovolite, da vam sovražnik skozi tehnologijo vzame vašo dušo. To je ona povedala. Zato, ker ta tehnologija vam daje vse možne zadovoljitve vašega telesa na čustveni ravni. Od zasvojenosti do samovšečja, do napuha, do jeze, do vseh negativnih čustvenih stanj. In to deluje v duhovnem svetu tako kot veriga, ki leti ven iz tega portala, ki se mu reče ekran. In bolj vam zdaj ne morem razložiti, ker bi pač to tako deluje. Ko boste podnapise imeli, si dajte 2-krat pogledati ta filmček, pa dajte prespati. Družine razpadajo zaradi tega vpliva na delovanje možganov. Otrok sedi zraven mamice in ona gre takole dol po telefonu in otrok jo ruka, mami, mami, mami. Zdaj so vse generacije tako zasvojene. Moj oče pri 73 letih igra igrice na pametnem telefonu, ki jih jaz ne. Zdaj so že starejše generacije zasvojene s tem. Rešitev je, da človek postane bolj pameten od pametnega telefona enostavna, tako, da zabrišeš telefon v steno. Zelo radikalno. Ampak ko boste dojeli, da se ta tehnologija hoče preko demonskih sil polastiti vaše duše ujetosti skozi te programe, ki se prepne na vaše čustva, ki vi pravite, same noben ne vidi. Duhovni svet to vidi in ti imaš to misel v glavi in si zasužnjen. O tem govori ta deklica in to je Jezus pokazal. In tako, ko je ona sanje videla, tako so vsi preroki videli sanje in niso vedeli, kva gledajo in so sprašvali Jezusa, kva je to. No, ta deklica je pač za cel svet namenjena kot sporočevalec, messenger v angleščini, zato da se zavedate, da bojo otroci, ko bo prišlo čipiranje, v vrsti stali, kdo ga bo prej dobil. In s tem bojo izgubili svobodno voljo. Ker je pa opozorilo v Svetem pismu o razodetju, da se bo to zgodilo. In mi smo v tem obdobju, ko se razodetje pred nami odvija. Če ne verjamete meni, si pogledajte zadnje olimpijske igre, kater konj je letel čez stadion. Pa zakaj je bila zadnja večerja na olimpijskih igrah? In te zadeve, vse, kar oni delajo, se norca delajo, ampak vam kažejo, se mi tudi poznamo Sveto pismo. In Sveto pismo se bo pred nami odvrtelo. Moja izkušnja. Jaz sem pred enim mesecem dobil pameten telefon. Pameten tok, bolj od mene. Jaz sem takole delal dol po telefonu. Od 8 do pol 2 zjutraj. To ure letijo. In jaz imam to izkušnjo. In letijo pa vseh, kdor ima pameten telefon. In gledaš vse. Zato, ker je gor vse. Ni da ni. Lahko gledaš od avtomobilov, od šraufanja, od komedije ali od nagote, kar češ, tehnične zadeve, kako bajto zgraditi ali kako se osrati na ulici. Mislim, razumete? Vse, kar duša lahko sprejme v svojo glavo oziroma v svoje srce. Filmčki so tako narejeni, da ti krade čas in ne da ti krade čas, krade ti avrično energijo. Ošvohniš, bleci in tvoja aura je načeta, tako da rabaš en teden energetsko, da se sestavaš. Zakaj? Zato, ker smo mi bitja svetlobe in zvoka. In ta tehnologija se ukvarja z našo svetlobo in zvokom tako, da nam v bistvu uničuje avrično polje. In kad ti avrično polje unič, ti fizično zboliš. Pa še duhovno si ujet v eno perverzijo, ki si jo videl, ali pa eno neumnost. Tako da to so resne zadeve in ta tehnologija je bila namenjena kot orodje. Zdaj je pa kot orožje, da ukrade dušo. In mene je prijateljica rekla, Gidi, nehaj s tem. Ti si izgubil polovico avričnega polja, ti si čist bled, tvoja energija je padla za več kot 50%. Če imaš človeka ob sebi, ko to vidi, si ti lahko rečeš, kaj? A je to mogoče? Če tega nimaš, delaš to naprej. In pametni telefoni, vsi, ki jih nosijo v žepih, so neplodni ali pa je treba rezati kakšno zadevo, kakšen testis. To je še sevalna naprava. To je bilo čas, zdaj gre na duhovno raven to. Kako pa pametni telefoni delujejo? Mi imamo pameten računalnik v Mariboru, ki je super hiter in on v realnem času spremlja, kaj se mi pogovarjamo in tisti trenutek ti dobiš sporočilo na YouTube, na Facebook, odvisen, kaj imaš prižgan. On ta računalnik vse pokriva. Moja zgodba, ko sem se s mojo prijateljico pogovarjal, da imam eno bolečilo na stopalu, Pa ne vem, kje se je mu dobo, glavno me je začel boleti. Ni kritično, ampak pač en drugega zdrava, pa je rekla, vzem si teniško žogco, pa boš po njej hodil, da boš to trdoto, bolečino zmasiral. V redu, vzamem jaz telefon, jaz imam video filmček gor od stopala, ki hodi po teniški žogci. Čez 10 sekund. Oni so skozi priklopljeni na mikrofon, na pameten telefon. In oni ti ponudijo rešitev, tisto, ki si se ti ravno kar v sobi pogovarjal. In isto tako družine s sabo skregajo, če se hoče na enega spraviti. Poslušajo telefon od tvojega očeta, od tvoje žene, od hčerke, ti si pa tarča. In vsem glave zmanipulirajo tako, da imaš ti masakr v hiši. To je orožje. Tako oni delujejo zdaj. Družinske tragedije delajo preko vplivanja na možgane prek pametnih naprav. Če si pa sam gor, pa pač tebe targetirajo oziroma napadajo z temi vse možne slabe filmčki ti dajo gor, da bi se ti parjel na neko slabo lastnost in da bi jo hranil. In takrat ti zgubljaš svetlobo in ti jo srka ta računalnik in tako ti avro v bistvu uničuje. Evo, tako več v bistvu zelo ne morem povedati. Upam, da boste si filmček lahko spod napisi pogledali, pa si ga probajte tudi dol snet, pa toliko si ga pogledajte, da ga boste zastopali. Pa dajte prositi Jezusa, kva lahko naredim, pomagaj mi. Tisti, ki boste dol preč, molite za svoje bližnje, pa bodite strpni, pa čakajte, da se bo Jezus odzval na vaše molitve. To je zdaj ta naša bitka, ker gre samo še za krajo duš, pravzaprav. Zakoni so itak, duši treba zdaj reševati, zakoni bojo šli, v katero smer bojo šli. Tako, no, hvala vam, upam, da ste vselih razumeli to zadevo, toliko, da bo šla lahko naprej, pa še koga spodbudila, da se izogiba tem nevarnosti. Hvala. Bog z vami.
Hvala. Egidi, hvala.
Ja, lej, sem se dal v službo in sem naredil to zadevo, mogel sem to narediti. Ker drugače jaz ne bi spal. Tako da želim, da se Slovenci osvobodijo teh prihodnih nevarnosti in zdajšnjih.
Egidi, to je bilo tako močno sporočilo vsem nam, vsakemu izmed nas. In tudi, da drugega opozarjamo, tako kot je tebe prijateljica opozorila, da si polovico avričnega polja zgubil, da si bled. Dajmo se opozarjati, kadar opazimo stvari, zaradi tega, ker sami smo včasih celo nemočni proti tej zadevi.
Ja, ponavadi te mora pa nekdo drug rešiti in najbolj deluje tako duhovno, da človeka blagosloviš ali pa prosiš Jezusa, da te nazaj zaščiti oziroma da te pozdravi. Molitev je res, molitev deluje, ampak prava direktno na Jezusa. Direktno na Jezusa za tisto stvar, ki jo ti rabiš. Jezus, pomagaj mi, zob me boli. Jezus, pomagaj mi, ne vem, kaj bom rekla sosedi, ki je pa včeraj naredil pri njej neko zadevo. Pa za vsako stvar ga vprašaš in čakaš na misel, ki jo dobiš. Da pa boš lahko vzpostavil stik s Svetim Duhom, pa pri sebi razčisti, da si ponižen, da nisi v napuhu, da si krotek, da nisi jezen, vzkipljiv in da si potrpežljiv, da čakaš, da boš dobil odgovor in da delaš dobre dela, da si pač dober po srcu. Takrat se bo Bog začel s tabo ukvarjati. Sveti Duh. Boš dobil kot misel, ali kot sporočilo, ali kot en močen vzgib. Tole poglej, sem lepet, tole nared in se prepuste, da vas bo Bog, Božji Duh takrat učil. To je zdaj tako direktno navodilo, kako boste prišli nazaj do Božjega vodstva.
In jaz mislim, da se nobena stvar ne zgodi slučajno, ker je filmček ravno tistih 8 minut, in mi imamo te 8-minutne pauze, pa bom jaz zdajle film tako naredil, da ga bom dal s podnapisi, ker je zdaj aktualen, zdaj si povedal duhovne resnice in morda je celo prav, da smo ga najprej videli, ne razumeli, pa da si ga lepo pojasnil.
Ker ga boste mogli dvakrat gledati.
Ker ga bomo pa zdajle dali s podnapisi, da se naša Iviljana predsednica ta čas pripravi in takoj po filmčku bo pa ona. Evo, in da ne bo nihče prikrajšan.
Hvala, Mihael.
Glej, srčna hvala. Vsak teden bi se ti takole želeli, da bi nas poučil o določenih stvarih, a ne, in kadar ti duša da, pridi, prosim, večkrat, a ne, te rabimo.
Ja, lahko računate name v najtežjih trenutkih.
Evo, hvala lepa. Prekrasno.